Hello and welcome to The Content Bite, a podcast for freelancers who use their words to make money. I'm Rachel Smith, a freelance journalist, copywriter and content producer. I'm also the founder of Rachel's List, a jobs board and community for Australian writers and other creatives.
And I'm Lynne. I'm a journalist and content writer as well. Rachel and I are your weekly co-hosts, and every week we bring you all kinds of tips, tricks and some fabulous guests to help you make the most of your freelance business.
I used spreadsheets for 15 years.
Oh my God, did you?
I know. But as my business grew, I grew out of the spreadsheets.
Yes.
And it got harder to sort of keep on top of all my invoicing and quoting and things like that. And Rounded was the accounting software that finally converted me. And it helped simplify my taxes and also just let me take ownership of what goes on in my freelance business. And I love that I've got visibility over my finances, so I can see what's happening with my cash flow and all the other insights that are on the dashboard.
I know, the dashboard is so cool. I love a good pie chart and I love the whole thing because it makes it so much easier to work it out.
Yeah.
And don't forget, if you're a gold member of Rachel's List, you can save 20% on any annual Rounded plan, even if you're an existing customer. So see the show notes for details. Hi Rach, how are you?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yep. Apart from tech issues and a bit of Mercury retrograde, but other than that, all good.
Oh, good. So, but before we start chatting with our guest, I just wanted to give another shout out to the Content Bite Summit and remind our listeners that we're entering the last few weeks to secure tickets.
Yes. And we know a lot of people wait till the last minute to buy tickets. So we just wanted to let you know time is running short. I think we've sold well over half our tickets. So if you want to get in there, now's a good time to do it. I think it's less than a month away now.
It is less than a month away. So it's very exciting. And I think we're well over 75% of the tickets. So we're pretty
my God. Don't miss out, people. Get to the Content Bite Summit.
But of course, there's a lot happening with the podcast, where it all began. And this week we have another inspiring editor and content creator, Paul Merrill. And Paul was a senior editor at Bauer Media, before he set up his own content business. And I'm really keen to hear about how he made the move and what he's learned along the way. So are you happy to introduce Paul?
Yes. Here's a little bit about Paul. Paul Merrill has launched and edited several major weekly and monthly magazines in the UK and Australia. And as editor-in-chief at Bauer Media, he oversaw a portfolio of 15 digital and print titles and won a series of industry awards, including Mumbrella Publish Awards for Editor, Media Brand and Magazine of the Year, MPA Best Website and AMA Best Marketing Campaign. Wow. For the last 5 years, he's run his own digital content agency, helping clients with commercial content, message marketing, PR, award nominations and online publishing. Welcome, Paul. I'm very happy to have you here.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. It's an honour. Big Content Bite fan.
Oh, good one. That's good to know. We don't often know who's listening out there, so it's very exciting to hear that.
Yes.
Yeah,
But it's such a useful site. I mean, I've got plenty of work from Rachel's List, and it's it's become an institution.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, it does really well.
Yeah.
Tell us about your career to date, Paul. What have been some of the highlights?
Well, I started off in magazines, women's magazines in the UK. I worked for a weekly women's magazine called Chat, which is similar to Take 5 or That's Life over here, and became editor. And then I was poached by a different company to launch a men's magazine called Zoo Weekly. And I launched that in a blaze of publicity in the UK and edited it for 18 months. Which was quite a roller coaster because there hadn't been a men's weekly magazine in the UK before. So it was new ground, very exciting, but very challenging and very controversial in places. And then I was asked to come to Australia for a year to 18 months to launch it here. But at the time I had kids aged 6 and 4. My wife was 5 months pregnant. So it was tricky, a very busy time. And the baby was born the same week the magazine launched.
Good timing.
That was quite a painful week for my wife and I. And here I am 18 years later, still in Australia and loving it. The kids are all grown up now. the baby's taking his HSC this year.
Oh my gosh.
It's been quite a journey. And so I edited Zoo in Australia for about 5 years. Then after a bit of launch work, I edited a magazine called Take 5 until 2019. And then I've been freelance since, serving a number of clients.
So something that is really interesting to us is how freelancers end up freelancing, especially after, being in a big organization like you were. Talk us through that, your decision to sort of go out on your own and how you adjusted to all of that, because it can be a big adjustment.
Yeah, it was a big adjustment. And if I'm honest, it took me a while to get used to working for myself, because I've only ever worked for big publishers, running teams of people. So suddenly being on my own in the back bedroom was a big shift. And I reckon it took me about a year to adjust. And during that first year, my productivity was a bit low. I tended to sort of sit back and wait for people to come to me rather than being proactive and actively seeking new clients. But working at home, you're distracted by the dog and the fridge and the TV and
all the things.
In my case, it's the washing machine, but that could just be me.
Washing machine, and thinking, maybe I'll just have a little nap. And it took me a while to adjust, but luckily I started getting some clients referred to me, and that sort of snowballed, and I got a lot of referrals, and gradually built it up to the point where I had so much on that the afternoon nap or walking the dog wasn't an option anymore, and I was it was full on. And luckily it has been ever since. So I just about balance it, so I don't take too much on that I can't cope with. But you know what it's like being freelance. There are some weeks where I'm working seemingly 24/7, and then the next week it's sort of twiddling my thumbs because something's been delayed or put off. And I guess that's one of the big challenges of being freelance, is regulating that workflow so that you always hopefully have something on, and you can be flexible enough to adjust deadlines so that you have roughly the same amount of work each week.
Yeah. I still think that's the biggest, even after over 20 years working for myself, what you just described is still my biggest challenge, when there's delays on certain projects and then everything sort of comes into the same week and suddenly needs to be due in that week. And I can just have weeks where it's, absolutely terrible. And I'm waiting for it to all be done. I'm in a really good week at the moment, which is rare. Whereas it's very calming. I might be having an afternoon nap.
Yeah, you get used to it, because I guess then if every project has a decent amount of time to do it, then you can balance your day. And even if something's not due for a month, that you've got a busy weeks coming up, so you get it done early. And you're honest with clients who say they need something tomorrow, and say, well, I can't do it by tomorrow, but I can do it by this time. And they can then decide whether they want to use you or somebody else. You don't want the quality to go down because something's rushed. So it's just getting that balance, so you have weekends free and you're not working into the evening.
Exactly.
It sounds like there are longer hours, but I like the flexibility. Is that what you like, that it could be longer hours and then it's shorter hours? Is that what you like about it?
I tend to try to work from 9 to 5:30 or roughly thereabouts, so that if I get nervous if it gets to sort of 10 o'clock and I haven't started work, or I've got something else on. I feel a bit guilty. I think, I should be at my desk. What am I doing?
Yeah.
And there's got that sort of taskmaster on my shoulder saying, get back to your desk, get on with things, stop faffing about. So now I can regulate it, but that is an ongoing challenge, particularly if a particular project comes to an end suddenly, and then you've suddenly got nothing to do for a few days, then you've got to drum up work out of nowhere. Or if a big project comes up and it's really urgent, and every other thing you're doing is urgent too, is working out just what your capacity is. But yeah, I'm getting used to it. I'm probably not as advanced or as organized as Rachel, who's been doing it much longer. But I'm getting there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, can you see a time when you would want to go back in-house, or are you very firmly in the freelance world now? Like, is this it for you?
Well, I've been offered a few jobs over the last 4 years, and yeah, it's tempting. Part of me, I do miss the camaraderie. I do miss being part of a team, and working from home is quite, it's can be lonely at times when you're just not getting out, you're not seeing people. So part of me is tempted, but on the other hand, the other side is there's no commute. If you don't like somebody, you don't have to continue working with them. There's no office politics.
Yeah.
So it's swings and roundabouts. I'm getting used to being freelance now and quite enjoy it. But who knows? Never say never.
Yeah.
I know when I was like sort of, because I worked at, went back when it was Bauer for quite a while and sort of freelanced a bit as well until I fully edged into the freelancing world. And once I started freelancing, I found I actually couldn't write at Bauer. I found it very difficult and so distracting all the time.
Oh, really?
It's like my brain, I just stopped being able to produce in that environment. So now I really like the quiet and all of that. It's funny, I think. I don't know if I could ever go back.
I love the flexibility of working when I'm ready to work. Like, I like working from 7 o'clock in the morning, but finishing at 3 if I feel like that or whatever. That is what makes. Have you embraced that yet? Or you sound like you still got that corporate
set
you can't
hours.
need the 9 to 5 thing.
I haven't managed to sort of cast it off yet. So I do feel 9 to 5:30 are my working hours, and I need to be productive during that time.
Yeah,
I don't like having to work into the evening unless I really have to if something's urgent, which sometimes it is. But I'm getting used to it. I'm embracing it. But I probably could be a bit more flexible. I probably could, as you say, start early, finish early, and take a bit more time out of my day. Because my wife also works from home, so we sort of share an office.
Oh yeah, you're one of those. Same with me and my husband. It's good times.
It can be good. When we first started doing it, I didn't realize how noisy she was when she typed. She types as though she's composing a symphony. Then she would sort of tell me off because I was tapping. I didn't realize I was tapping my fingers, and just as a nervous habit. And then she want the window open. I'd say no, it's cold. So it took a while to get used to our different working habits.
Yes, there are so many pros and cons to working next to your spouse. Like in my case, I'm near the back door and he likes a bit of fresh air, so I freeze. But on the plus side, he makes all the tea all day. So I never make a cup of tea. There's always one being plonked next to me. So I like that.
Well, that's good. That sounds good.
Nice.
I think I'll come and work in your office.
But what I do is he's in IT. So he's back-to-back meetings all the time. And so I often have to go and do a podcast in another room. We do need another office. But if I have a big feature, like I was saying, I really need the quiet to write and pull something together. Like I had a big 2,000 worder and I just stayed up till 2 a.m. when everyone's asleep, house is totally quiet. I can just do it then. But it's not ideal. I don't want to be working like that, but sometimes that's how it does work. And for me, I know Lynne would be rolling her eyes because she's like, why are you up sending emails at 12 midnight? Yeah. Your website, you've got so many great clients on there. So how has that sort of all evolved? Were they like word of mouth from people that you worked with and you sort of said, hey, I'm going out on my own, swing me some work if you have anything to outsource? Yeah, how did that all come about?
Well, it was quite organic in that as I said, I started off with no clients and sort of assuming that people just come to me straight away, and it took a while, but then I got one, and then that led to another through a friend of a friend. I did King Living for a while. I did a lot for Seven West Media. Got involved with Marlab, KPMG, and some others, and you just get referrals. That's what it is. If you do a good job, then other people recommend you. And luckily, I haven't had to sort of advertise or put myself out there too much because people come to me. And it's been good, and it's really varied. I do a lot of business writing and financial stuff. I've been doing the commercial content for Engineers Australia for the last year. Before that, I did Chartered Accountants ANZ. I've got my own dad blog on Substack called Breaking Dad, and it's
cool.
the fact it's it's just so varied. Sometimes you have to sort of check the style guides, because a lot of people, as you will know, have very different styles of writing. Even the way they write percent. Is it 2 words, 1 word, is it a symbol? It's just making sure your everything you do is right for that audience. But it's fun, swapping from something that's a silly comedy, dad piece, to interviewing the CEO of Moet Chandon, and I like that variability.
It sounds like you don't do much marketing, or you don't have to do much marketing, but you have some good testimonials. Do you have a system for like even the marketing that you do?
I don't really do any marketing as such. I put posts on LinkedIn when I've had something published or about something, but yeah, I don't really do any marketing. The big growth area the last year or so has been writing award nominations. So when I was an editor, I won a bunch of awards in industry.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
I'm not saying that I won those because I was the best. I think I won those because I had the best nomination. Because over the years, I've judged lots of awards, for the likes of Mumbrella, the MPA, the Logie Awards, and all those. So I know what judges are looking for. So I have a lot of clients who I write award nominations for across major industries, from Seven West Media to a few media agencies and commercial clients, and have a terrific success rate. So when one of my nominations wins, I have a quite a little celebration, thinking, I'm sure it was a nomination that swung it.
I'm sure, because it is a growth. Every industry has an awards of some description, doesn't it? There's a lot of opportunities there.
There are so many awards. Honestly, you wouldn't. I do a lot across not just Australia, but Asia Pac awards for media and for other industries, and writing an award nomination takes a lot of time. It takes, you have to get it right. You have to put time and resource into it. And if you're an award-worthy person, then you're too busy being award-worthy to bother, spend a few hours getting the nomination right and making sure you're not making a mistake or being too vague or waffling or
not addressing the criteria.
Yeah, I know how to do it, how to sort of spin it so that it gives the best story, it writes the best narrative, because I think award nomination is about storytelling. It's about telling a story of a campaign that you started off with a really big challenge and insurmountable existential challenge, and you had this ingenious idea, and this is how you innovated, this is where you got the insights from, this was the original innovative execution, and these are the results that smashed every KPI out of the ballpark. That's the narrative that the judges respond to, because you just have to make it simple for them. Being a judge myself, I know it's easy to skim an award entry or get bogged down in too much detail. So that's been a really interesting part of the job. And I love it when one of my nominations wins an award.
Wow, that's so interesting. I think we've had a grant writer and maybe an awards writer on the podcast before, but it is quite a niche area. You don't come across many awards writers. So
no, I mean, there are people who do it, but I guess it's an art in that you have to know how to do it. You have to know what's important and what's not. And the clients that I work for, often they don't know. They think something's really important and impressive, but to me, it sounds too vague, or it doesn't really add to the case. Where something that they just mentioned as an aside, I think that's I think, wow, that bit sounds really interesting. Let's put that in. Because you have to make it sound, innovative, original, insightful, and you have to sort of explain away the results and how you did it, and put forward all the best stats that you've got, because judges like stats. They don't like waffle or vague, claims that can't be backed up. So I enjoy doing that. That's something I've been doing for a while now, and I get that there's a lot of demand for it.
It sounds like you've got a bit of a framework going as well. How does, if you get an awards writing project through, how long does it take you, and what kind of process do you go through from woe to go?
Over the years, I've made it more and more efficient. So the number of hours it takes to do is less than it was, because I have this good system. I'm very clear with the clients about what information I need and when I need it by. Then I go back with further questions and get it into a first draft, and then make sure they read it to make sure I haven't pushed things too far or overclaimed or put something in that's I've misunderstood. And then, tidy up the second version, and by then it should be done and dusted. So it's quite efficient now. I do award nominations for a range of different industries, but the principles are exactly the same for every award. You have to just show them why this year, why you're better than your opposition, why you've done better than you did last year, what was impressive, what you did differently, and just pare it right down to that essential information. And that's how you do it. And as I say, I genuinely think it's the people who write the best nominations that win, not necessarily the most deserving.
Wow. Is it like a project fee for that, or would you charge an hourly rate?
I charge an hourly rate because it varies so enormously. With some clients, what they give me is so good that it really just takes a bit of tidying up. Whereas with others, it's a more intensive process of getting the information, requesting more information, a bit of to and fro. But the other thing, of course, is that once I've written one nomination for them, then they can enter multiple awards. All I have to do is just reconfigure it to the criteria of each award. Well, I've got the basic info there, so it becomes cheaper for them with every award that they enter, because it's the information's there. It's just some awards, you've got 2,000 words, sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes they break it down into individual questions and categories, but it doesn't take much to re-edit it into the correct format. And also I'm quite honest with if they want me to enter something and I think, well, actually I don't think you have enough of a case here, I don't think that it's going to be strong enough, then I don't want to waste their time and money in sort of trying to polish a turd, or whatever the correct phrase is. It's probably not very kind, is it? The last thing you want is for me to sort of labor away to make it as good as I possibly can get it, but know deep down that it really isn't strong enough. So I'm honest up front to say, look, I think this one we can get, but this one I think is too much of a stretch.
Yeah,
do you think that the awards make a difference for those businesses, or are they just doing it for vanity, do you think?
Well, part of it is that, but there is a lot of information, a lot of stats out there to say that people trust people who've won awards. If your agency of the year, or if your product is launch of the year, or whatever it is, then that's something you can use in your marketing. You can put it on your homepage, and on product or wherever. So awards, I think do make an absolute difference, because if you're trying to decide which agency to use and one has won a bunch of awards and one hasn't, then that's you're going to bear that in mind, aren't you? So and the cost of entering isn't really that much in the scheme of things. If you think about, the entry fee are usually just a few $100, and then my fee might be something similar. So the cost isn't huge compared to their
benefit
costs. So I think it's worth it, and I think it's something that really can help a business.
We talked a little bit offline about the whole idea with freelancing that you choose one service and do it really well and become really known for that service, or you have multiple services and kind of carve out a career like that. And you do that, like you do editing, copywriting, digital content, and awards. I mean, how do all those fit together, and are they sort of all naturally, interlinked and to help you rather than focusing on one thing?
Well, throughout my career, I've never written for an audience that includes me. I've written for women's magazines, for young lads mags, for more glossy titles, for business titles, for CEOs. And as a journalist, as you know, you tailor your content for whoever is going to read it. When I write for Engineers Australia, then I'm writing for very smart, qualified engineers who have a lot of knowledge, therefore don't want to be patronized by me explaining details that they're going to know. So I like the fact that I can turn to any particular audience and make sure that I get it right for them. So a lot of what I do is, commercial content, native articles, that sort of thing, or social media and editing. I've just taken on a B2C contract magazine that I'm just putting the finishing touches to the launch issue for. And the award nominations. So it's, it's varied, but I think that I like that. I wouldn't want to specialize too much on one thing, because then I might get bored.
Yes.
Interesting.
It's the endless conversation we have about niching and industry niching.
Yes.
Yeah, and being a generalist, yeah.
But I'd love to talk to you about the media, because I don't know if you still do much sort of journalism or media, but because we hear so much about shrinking budgets and circulation. Was that your experience? I mean, you were there for a while. Did you see that sort of transition happening? And now you've moved more to content. Do you think, is it nice working with larger clients and larger budgets, or does that not only work?
My formative life was in magazines. So, there was a heyday of magazines, and I was lucky to be a part of that, when there was a lot of money sloshing around, lots of parties, lots of freelancers taking on, staff numbers were much bigger.
Yeah.
Then I also was there during the time when, staff and budgets were being slashed, titles were closing, sales were going down, and the ad revenues were disappearing. So I was quite, used to finding cost efficiencies, finding better ways to do things with fewer people and with fewer resources. So that was, it's a difficult process to go through, but I became quite adept at finding ways to save money, to do the same thing for much less. And I've been in digital writing and publishing now for 5 years, and that's more of a growth industry. Digital is here to stay, whereas print probably has had its day and is still hanging on. I mean, there are still some strong titles out there, but it's getting less and less, isn't it? I mean, my kids have never bought a magazine in their life, I don't think, and I'm not sure they ever would, because it just wouldn't occur to them, or a newspaper. So, and I wouldn't necessarily invest in a firm that manufactures staples, because I think it's an industry that's had its day and will continue for a while. But digital is so much more interesting. It's a new art form in terms of making sure you get the SEO and the sort of the tone of voice, the keywords, and getting that right is really interesting. I think it's I really enjoy it.
You mentioned that you're always quite busy these days and you get a lot of work through. Have you thought about subcontracting or taking someone on, or is that just not how you want to work?
I do use other writers sometimes. I know, I use designers or publicists or writers if I've got a big job on. But, I like to do the main sort of heavy lifting myself, because, I know what the clients want, and I'm quite happy doing that. It's a personal service, and they're paying because they want me to make it work for them. But of course, sometimes I would use other writers when I've got a lot on, so that it becomes teamwork in pulling a project together.
You've moved sort of like into a more commercially successful field, like writing commercial content. Do you think is it what you imagined it to be? Is it easier, or is it harder?
Oh, it's not easier or harder. It's different, and it's because magazines, I guess, because I worked in weekly magazines, so it was a tough production schedule. You had to put, I don't know, 20 pages through every day, and if you get 10 through, then you got 30 the next day. So it's quite a treadmill in terms of making sure that everything goes through, everything runs smoothly, and just being overseeing that. So I'm quite good on handling big projects and very busy, complicated schedules with multiple stakeholders. That taught me that, and that's very useful in digital publishing, because there's still got a lot of people in terms of approvals and interviewees and stakeholders and stuff. So it's different, I suppose. It's more flexible, and it obviously can go to a wider audience. You're not limited by whoever picks up the print version at the newsstands. So you can. It's great when a story I've written goes viral and goes to a big audience. That's always nice. But I think it's not easier. I think it's just very different.
I think you mentioned before that you get a lot of word of mouth referrals, and you don't have to do a lot of marketing, but you get a lot from, referral work. Do you have to do much hustling? And if you do, where do you go and find your clients, or is it going back to old clients? How does all that work?
Sometimes, yeah. If I've got a lull, I had one recently where I didn't have much on for a week or two, so that I then went back to some old clients just to say, look, I've got some free time. If you need anything done, look on Rachel's list, see what's happening there. There's usually something that's might be interesting, or other sites, that offer freelance work. But yeah, usually something comes up. Usually, I get an unexpected referral, or a friend of a friend says, "Oh, I've heard you did this. Can you do this for me?" And it all starts up again. So I'm lucky in that way that I get those referrals and repeat customers. I've got a lot of clients who I've had for a number of years who I, very happy to do stuff for, and they're happy with what I'm producing. So it works out well that I haven't had to do much cold calling or reaching out in that way. Sometimes if you've got a bit of free time, you might sort of look into doing that, but so far so good.
So tell us a little bit about what you're working on now. What's this week like?
This week, so I have just finished a big sort of white paper on the construction industry, and I did another one for the mining industry. They were big, sort of 5,000 word oversights for a couple of clients. So I've just finished those. So that was interesting because you get to talk to people. What else have I got on this week? I'm doing some award nominations for a couple of agencies to get those in on time. And I'm doing a couple of features for a business magazine. So I've got to reach out and find some experts to talk to for that. So yeah, it's quite
diverse.
Quite a busy week.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, we have to ask you, because AI is obviously polarizing, writers across the board. Some people want to insert it into their workflow in different ways. Some people want to run screaming from it. But you use ChatGPT a little bit. So tell us about how that works for you.
Well, ChatGPT is an amazing product. It's incredible what it can do. But it's not there yet. It can't replace writers just yet, because it does still make stuff up. It doesn't get the tone right. It doesn't really understand humor or tone of voice. And I've done a lot of sort of prompt engineering using ChatGPT in terms of knowing how to use it, knowing how to prompt it to do the right thing. So I use it for my work, which can save clients some money because there is a time saving there. But it isn't there yet. You still need the human touch, because it hasn't got nuance yet. It hasn't got the sort of a good writer. I'm sure it can do some stuff. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of AI generated content on the internet out there, and you can usually tell when it's generated by AI, because the phrasing is just a little bit off. It's just not quite in the right language. It's just a little bit awkward. It uses some unexpected words. And also,
it's quite generic, isn't it?
Yes, and it still invents facts, makes things up, and it can't always differentiate between a reliable news source and an unreliable news source. So sometimes when you penetrate deeper and you try to ask it, where did it get that information, it will come back rather bashfully and say, "Oh, apologies, I didn't research that one properly. That link doesn't exist." And you can't trust it yet to do really strong, engaging copy. It will get there. There's no question. I think generative AI will replace us all one day. It's not there yet. It's just useful if you're using a copywriter, then to use one that can use it, can harness its power, but also refine it so that it provides good copy that people will respond to and don't resent because it's clearly written by a computer.
Yeah.
We often ask our guests about their tech tips, like what sort of programs do you use? Are you writing in Word? I mean, a lot of us do. Or are there other things that you use?
Well, yeah, there's I do still write in Word, although or Google Docs a lot these days, and I use Slack for some clients. There's a wealth of different programs you can use, which are useful. And ChatGPT for research purposes, or just to get a bit of background on something. But I don't know. I'm probably not the most tech savvy person. I kind of know enough to get by and do the job right. But is there anything I'm missing? Anything that you guys use that I should be using?
Well, we use Slack for the podcast, but also for Rachel's List, that team uses Slack, and then I use it with other clients as well. But every client wants something different, and I quite like that, because then I learn, like I've just had to learn how to use HubSpot for a client's email marketing, and I'd never used HubSpot before. So I just add it to my little list of things that I can do. And I've learned ClickUp and Monday and Figma in the past couple of months as well.
Yeah, Monday's useful. I use Monday for some clients.
Yeah, some of those things are really cool. So
I love Trello. That's how I manage all my jobs and everything, and I find that's really helpful in a small organization. And the free version is enough for small, and having an online accounting system makes a big difference too, I think. And transcription, you said you do quite a few interviews. What do you use for that?
Well, with Google Meet, you can get transcripts sent to you after the meeting, which is
cool.
Always useful.
Yeah.
And that's very, very useful, because then it means that when I'm interviewing someone, I don't have to be scribbling down notes or sticking to an hour-long audio afterwards. So I just get the transcript. So that's very useful.
Fantastic.
That's handy. I use Otter for that, but I still have to have my phone on. If I'm doing a phoner, I have to have the speaker on, but then it will transcribe the whole thing while you're doing it, which I love.
I usually try to record things on 2 devices, because I'm paranoid that one.
Me too.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, give us your best bit of advice for someone who might be thinking about, well, I'm going to jump ship and go freelancing. What would you, after having done it yourself, suggest to them?
Well, I think it's important to know what you want to do, what copywriting, what freelancing you're going to specialize in. And I think, whether that's, fashion writing, food writing, technical writing, whatever it might be, really sort of go for what you're good at, what you're experienced in. Make sure you've got a website that looks good, is a window into your world, and your LinkedIn is up to date and is in the right form. That's another thing I do for clients is write their LinkedIn for them, because if you might be fantastic, head of IT in a major corporation, but if your LinkedIn looks amateurish, or there's typos or spelling mistakes, then it's going to reflect badly on you. So I get a lot of technical people who get me to do that for them, so that it is a good advert for them. So my advice is to know what you're good at, and then just really pursue that, really go for it. And it might take time. It will, it might be frustrating. It might be a few weeks of not getting very far. But I think if you pursue what you really enjoy, what your passion is, then that's eventually it will come to fruition.
That's
fantastic. Thank you so much, Paul. Tell us where people can find you, and also where they can find your blog. What was it called again? Your Substack?
It's on Substack. It's called Breaking Dad.
Breaking Dad.
Nice.
Oh yeah, great name.
Nice.
So but otherwise, paulmerrill.com.au is the website, and all through LinkedIn. And it's been fantastic talking to you.
It's been lovely. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And we'll put a link in the show notes where people can find you, see your work. Because actually, we should have mentioned, Paul, you do have a great website. It's actually simple,
amazing.
clear. It's just easy to navigate. I really liked it.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for listening, and Paul, of course, for being our guest.
Yes.
And we'll be back next week with another great guest.
We will. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks again to our wonderful sponsors, Rounded, easy accounting and invoicing software that helps freelancers run their business with confidence.
And don't forget, if you're a gold member of Rachel's List, you can check your welcome emails for an exclusive discount code on the annual subscription rate. You can also find it in the private Facebook Gold group, or just contact us at hello@rachelslist.com.au.